Those of that opinion say aye. Say no. I think the ayes have it. Senator Urquhart.
Thank you, Acting Deputy President. I rise to speak on the National Broadband Network fixed line migration on the ANAO report. We know that the NBN migration for too many customers has been less than ideal. According to the audit, NBN Co has not been fixing faults on time and did not have adequate processes to find out the root cause of frequent complaints. The Auditor-General has recommended the company set up better monitoring processes and review its complaints process, in saying that entities should regularly monitor and analyse the complaints they receive in order to understand any trends or systematic issues that may be occurring, the report said. However, the auditor said that NBN Co didn't count delays when a user missed their appointment with a technician at home, which meant it could be taking even longer to resolve complaints than NBN Co was actually claiming. Complaints that took longer than NBN Co's timelines to resolve often dragged out, the ANAO said. And we know in practice the NBN migration for HFC has been a complete debacle. We know, for starters, NBN Co were forced to abandon the Optus HFC network altogether, despite previously trying to deny it was not fit for purpose. Mike Quigley had concluded in 2 weeks this network could not be used, and it took the coalition 3 years. We then found out the remainder of the HFC network was having reliability problems as well. You might recall in November 2017, NBN announced a sudden halt to the rollout of the HFC network. This panicked response came a week after the Senate committee began honing in on HFC issues. Apparently this HFC technology was going to be a game changer. So game-changing that the HFC rollout had to be halted because the technology was unreliable and causing dropouts. The HFC delay cost Australian taxpayers $800 million, and the costs for the HFC rollout have blown out 5 years in a row. NBN Co declared at the time that there would be a 6 to 9 month delay, but this was clearly not the case. We know of many areas across the country which have been delayed well beyond 12 months. Worse still, once an area becomes ready for service, there are still many HFC premises within that area that were not ready to connect. For months on end, they would be delayed without any good explanation. Worse still, when making inquiries, they would receive vague and flaky responses. In one example that was recently raised in Senate estimates, a resident in South Australia was supposed to have their HFC service first connected in February 2017. That connection then got delayed. Then in November 2017, there was a national pause in the NBN HFC rollout due to the reliability and dropout issues. As a result, the connection date was delayed to June 2019, despite NBN Co saying at the time that the delay would be an average of 6 to 9 months. After having placed an order with an ISP well in advance, 1 week prior to June 2019, the resident was advised that their NBN connection would be delayed further. This occurred despite their neighbour's home being connected to the NBN on time. They were then told that they could connect to the NBN in January 2020. Then only a few months later they got delayed until June 2020. Then after several follow-ups, NBN advised that the website was incorrect and it was actually revised to March 2020. This individual has chased up NBN Co and their local member countless times. Not once have the responses provided any useful information about why there has been a delay upon delay. Not once has there been an adequate explanation of why their neighbours cannot connect, and that this individual has to wait an extra 9 months for apparently minor pit works. When I raised the matter with NBN executives in Senate estimates, I received a reasonable explanation. So why couldn't this explanation, or this type of explanation, simply been provided directly to the consumer? There was no good explanation offered by NBN Co. Several days later, after having the light shone on them, NBN Co attended the premises of the resident who had experienced delay after delay and they got him connected. So it shouldn't be that hard. According to the NBN weekly report, there are 325,000 premises still classified as service class 0. These consumers deserve accurate and forthright information about the reasons for their delay, even if this does not speed the process up.
Thank you.